Kamau chewed a piece of meat for some time and then swallowed it. At which part of its digestive system did the digestion of meat start? To answer the question, we need to know what is digestion, and we usually say that digestion is the process of breaking food into small substances that can be absorbed in the blood stream. So the digestion of food starts in the mouth and ends in the small intestine. But the digestion of specific food substances, because we know the food that we eat has three types of nutrients. We have the carbohydrates, we have the proteins, and also we have fats and oils and vitamins. So you will find that the digestion of food takes place in three parts. Digestion of food takes place. One, or A, we have the mouth. The food that is digested here are the carbohydrates, so foods like maize, millet, they are digested in the mouth. B, we have the stomach. Food digested here are proteins, things like meat, milk, eggs, they are proteins. Example proteins, they are digested in the stomach. And then C, we have the upper part of the small intestine. This is where digestion is completed. All types of food are digested. That is the completion. If there are some starch that had not been digested in the mouth, they are completed in the upper part. The same applies to the proteins and any other type of food. So using that information now, we can know where did the food, that is the meat that Kamau ate, where its digestion started. So the digestion of that meat started in the stomach. Why is it in the stomach? Meat is an example of protein. Here we have things like meat, we have eggs, we have things like milk. So their digestion takes place in the stomach. They just pass through the mouth. They are chewed by the teeth. So when you look at the answers there, we have mouth. We know what is digested in the mouth are carbohydrates, and meat is not part of the carbohydrate. Then we have B, we have the stomach. In the stomach we have proteins. Examples of the protein, we have meat, eggs, and milk. So in our case, the answer will be B. B will be our answer, since the digestion of protein takes place in the stomach. It takes place in the stomach. Which one of the following is the function of the pancreas? So when you look at the digestive system, Digestive system is made up of several parts that include the mouth, the stomach, the esophagus, the pancreas being one of it, the liver, the duodenum, small intestine, the large intestine, the rectum, and then the anus. All that one forms what you call digestive system or the gut, or you can call it the alimentary canal. So each of those parts we have mentioned, they have their own part. So we need to know what is the function of the pancreas in the digestion of food. So we go by our choices. We have our choice A, and our choice A says A absorbs digested food. When you look at the absorption of the digested food, this one takes place in the lower part or small intestine, where we have the villi, which are finger-like structures that helps in absorption of digested food to the blood stream. When you look at our choice B, stocks up produces digestive juices. These digestive juices, they are also called enzymes, and they are produced in parts like the mouth. We have the saliva. We have parts like the stomach. We have gastric juice. We have the liver, produces the bile. Then we have the pancreas, produces pancreatic juice that helps in the digestion of food. Then C absorbs water. Where is water absorbed? Water is absorbed in the large intestine. The large intestine absorbs water and mineral salts. Then stores and digested material. This one is the work of the rectum. This is the work of rectum. We have said absorbs water. This mesema, it is the large intestine. So to answer our question, then we look at the pancreas, and we have said now pancreas produces pancreatic juice, which is a digestive juice. So in that case, our answer, it will be B. In which one of the following parts of the digestive system does absorption of food take place? When you look at the digestive system comprises of different parts that includes parts like the mouth. We have food pipe. We have the stomach. We have small intestine. Also we have large intestine. We have rectum, and then we have the anus. So each of these parts, it has its own function, which it does to enable the digestion of food to be completed successfully. So we have in the mouth, whereby the chewing takes place. Also, digestion of carbohydrates takes place in the mouth. Food pipe, or you can call it esophagus, it is the tube that connects the mouth to the stomach and allows food to pass from the mouth to the stomach. Then in the stomach, there is production of gastric juice that digests food like proteins. After the food in the stomach, then it passes to small intestine, and in the upper part of the small intestine, it is where now the digestion is completed. When you go to the small intestine, as I have said, it is divided into two parts. We have the lower and the upper small intestine. We have the upper part, and then we have the lower part. We have the lower part. That is where now the absorption of the digested food takes place. This is where absorption of digested food takes place. On the upper part of the small intestine, here it is where by digestion is completed. Is completed in the upper part of the small intestine. The other parts, like the large intestine, it's where now absorption of water and mineral salts takes place. Rectum, it's whereby the undigested food material are stored temporarily before they are released or removed through the anus. So according to our question, our key word there is absorption of food takes place where? We have singled out the small intestine, which is divided into two parts. The upper part where digestion is completed, and that's the reason we say now the digestion of food starts in the mouth and ends in the small intestine. The part where that digestion ends is the upper part of the small intestine, and then on the lower part of that small intestine is where now absorption of the digested food takes place to the bloodstream. So according to our answer, we have a duodenum, we have small intestine, we have the stomach, we have the large intestine. So our answer will be B. The reason being that it is in the small intestine, and specifically the lower part of the small intestine, where the absorption of the digested food takes place. Which one of the following body structures in the table below is not correctly matched with its function? We have the structure and then the function. So A, we have the villi, and villi absorbs digested food. B, we have the large intestine, stores the digested food. Pancreas produces digestive juice. Mouth, food broken into small particles. For us now to understand how to answer that question, we need to know functions of different parts. We start with the villi. The villi They are finger-like structures. Found in small intestine. Their work is to absorb, helps in absorption of digested food. So its function as it is lined up, it's correct. Next we have the large intestine, also called colon, and we said now the colon, its work is to absorb water and mineral salts. Then we have the pancreas. The pancreas usually produce pancreatic juice that usually helps in regulating the amount of sugar in the body. Then lastly we have the mouth, and in the mouth we have teeth, and their work is to break food into small particles that can be swallowed, so that now you can swallow them. So when you go back to our question, the key word there is not correctly matched. According to our small notes there, we have seen that villi helps in absorption of the digested food in the small intestine, which here it is correctly matched. We go to our B. Our B, we have our large intestine, or also you can call it the colon. And we have said now the work of the colon is to absorb water and mineral salts. Here we are told that large intestine stores digested food. It is the work of the rectum to store undigested food material. That is the work of rectum. It's the one that stores undigested food material. So our answer there is B. Why? The work of the colon is to absorb water and mineral salt, but not to store digested food material. That's the work of the colon. Digestion of food does not take place in the A. Mouth, B. Large intestine, C. Stomach, D. Small intestine. For us to get the correct answer, we have to know parts where digestion of different nutrients takes place. So the digestion of various types of food that we eat, that include the carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins and fats, takes place in 3 parts. So we have 3 parts where digestion of food takes place. One, we have the mouth, and the type of food that is digested there are carbohydrates. Two, we have the stomach. And the food that is digested there is the proteins. And three, we have small intestine. Of completed, digestion of food is completed. So with that information now, we can look at our answers to see which one rhymes with our explanation. So we have the key word, or the key word to note in that question is does not take place in the. So the digestion of food does not take place in. When you look at our explanation, we have said now digestion of food takes place in the mouth, stomach, and small intestine. So in our choices we have a mouth, large intestine, stomach, small intestine. So the one that is lacking in our explanation is the large intestine. So in that case, our answer will be B, the large intestine. And what takes place in the large intestine? It is the absorption of water and mineral salts. So the digestion of food takes place in the mouth, stomach, and small intestine, but does not take place in large intestine. What takes place? It is absorption of water and mineral salts in the large intestine. Which one of the following is the function of the rectum? Completes the digestion of food, stores undigested matter, absorbs water, absorbs digested food. To answer the question, we need to know parts of digestion and their work. So we shall start with our aim, that is complete the digestion of food. In the alimentary canal or the digestive system, also called the gut, there are several parts, starting from the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and the anus. The completion of the digestion of food takes place in the small intestine. That's where now all the foods that have not been digested as the food passes through the mouth, the stomach, it is digested. Then after it is digested, at the completion of digestion in small intestine, then the food passes together with water and dissolved mineral salts, and that water and dissolved mineral salts here are absorbed in large intestine. That is where absorption of water and dissolved mineral salts takes place. Then the undigested food materials passes through to the rectum, whereby they are stored temporarily. So this is where rectum now comes in. They are stored temporarily before they are removed through the anus. Then our choice D, where we have absorbs digested food, This one we have said now, it is the small intestine. It is good to note that we have said in the small intestine there is completion of digestion of food and also absorption of the digested food. The small intestine, it is broken into two parts, whereby we have the upper and then we have the lower. It is the upper part of the small intestine that completes the digestion of food. And then we have the lower part of the small intestine where we have the villi, which absorbs the digested food material. So with all that explanation, you will find now our answer will be B, that is B. Why? Because the rectum is the one that absorbs, is the one that stores undigested food materials before they are released through the anus. Bile mixes with food in the stomach, duodenum, small intestine, large intestine. For us to understand this question, we need to know what takes place in each of those parts of digestive system. In a small illustration, we have that the digestive system, it has parts like the mouth, it has the stomach, we have the large intestine or the colon, we have this is the small intestine or the ileum, this is the rectum, and this is the anus. Then we have this vital organ in the body which is called the liver. Inside the liver we have the gallbladder, and the gallbladder is the one that stores the bile that is produced in the liver. So we have bile is produced in the liver, and after it is produced in the liver, it is stored. It is stored in gallbladder. So as the food passes from the stomach to the small intestine, from the stomach here to the small intestine here, the first part here it is called the duodenum. It is called the duodenum. It is the part whereby the bile juice from the liver mixes with the food. So it mixes the food in the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. Which one of the following is not correct matched with its function? Not correctly. These are the key words. So we have the part and then we have the function. We have esophagus, which is the long tube that connects the stomach to the mouth, allows the passage of food. We have the stomach, mixes food with enzyme. We have small intestine, completes the digestion of food, and then we have large intestine, absorbs digested food. So here we need to have all those parts. So we have the part, so we have this is esophagus, and as you can see, it is this tube that is connecting now the mouth and the stomach. Tube that connects the mouth and the stomach. This is the mouth, this is the stomach. So the tube that connects now the mouth and the stomach allows food to pass from the mouth to the stomach. So that one is correctly matched. Then we have the stomach. The stomach is the part that helps in the digestion of protein, and it mixes food with the digestive enzyme or juice called gastric juice, which is produced in the walls of the stomach. So you have the stomach produces gastric juice that are produced in the walls of the stomach and helps in digestion of protein. Then we have these are the small intestines, and that is where now the digestion of food is completed. Then the large intestine absorbs water and mineral salts. Large intestine absorbs water and mineral salts. So if we go back to our question, which is which one of the following is not correctly matched with its function, we look at our A, esophagus, which is the tube that allows food to pass from the mouth to stomach. That is correctly matched. We have B, stomach, which is the place where gastric juice is produced that is used to digest protein. Then we have small intestine. That's where now the digestion is completed in the upper part of the small intestine. We say now the digestion of food starts in the mouth and ends in the small intestine. the upper part of the small intestine. But when you look at D, whereby we have large intestine, the work of the large intestine is to absorb water and mineral salts. But in our choice here, we have been told that it absorbs digested food. So our answer, bearing they want which one is not correctly matched, then our answer will be D. Why? Because the work of the large intestine is to absorb water and mineral salts. Which one of the following statement describes canine tooth? In human body, we have 4 types of teeth. Four types. We have incisors, we have the canines, then we have the premolars, and then we have the molars. So for our case here, we want to know more about the canine. So the diagram will help us to understand about the canines. When you look at the diagram of a canine, it usually looks like this. We have this part from here. This is the root. So it has only one root. This part, as you look, you can see it is sharp and pointed. So we go to our answers and look whether we are going to get those answers in our choices. So when you look at our choices here, we have choice A, they are chisel shaped with one root. B, they are wrap surface with 2 roots. C, we have wrap surface with 3 roots. And then our D, we have pointed tip with 1 root. So according to our explanation, we have said now the canines, they usually have, they are sharp and pointed, and they have 1 root. So that one rhymes with the choice D, which is pointed tip with 1 root. So in that case, our answer will be D, because they are sharp and pointed. Which of the following types of human teeth is correctly matched with its function? To answer this question, we need to look at the functions. The function of human teeth. So we have the first one, we have the incisors. And they are used for biting and cutting. Then we have the canines. They are used for tearing. We have the premolars. And molars. These two are used for crushing. also chewing and grinding. Food. So with that, now we look at our answers and see which choice rhymes with our explanation. A, we have teeth, and then we have function. So we have A, incisors. We have said now the incisors here, they are used for biting and cutting. Here A, they are saying that incisors are used for tearing and cutting. So here A cannot be the answer because of the word tearing. Tearing is the work of the canines, as you can see in our explanation. When we go to our choice B, canine, which is the type of teeth, we have tearing and crushing. We have said now the work of the canines in our explanation, it is tearing. So according to the choice here, we see that here we have crushing, which is not the work of canine. Then choice D, see, we have premolars. Premolars, we have said now according to our explanation that they are used for crushing, chewing and grinding food. According to this choice, then they are saying that is used for cutting and grinding. The only function of the molars, premolars here, it is grinding. Cutting, it is the work of incisors. Then we have choice D, whereby we have molars, where they are talking about crushing and grinding. So according to our explanation back there, we have said now premolars and molars are used for crushing and chewing and grinding food. So according to choice D, this will be the correct answer. Choice D will be our correct answer, choice D, because molars are used for grinding, also crushing food. The table below shows part of human digestive system and their function. Part, function: small intestine, absorption of food. Stomach, we have function, we have Y. X, absorption of water. So we need to understand the part and function of each and every part of the small of the alimentary canal or the digestive system. One of the parts is mouth. This one digests carbohydrates. We have stomach, digest proteins. We have small intestine, absorption of food. we have large intestine, absorption of water, we have the rectum, stores undigested, food materials. So with all that information, now we can fill our gaps. We have part and function, small intestine, absorption of food, and according to our explanation that small intestine absorbs food after it has been digestion. We have stomach, and the work of the stomach here, it is the digestion of protein. Then so here we talk of digestion of food. Then we have absorption of water, which is done by this large intestine. So here we have large intestine. And here we have absorption or digestion of food. So if we go to our choices there down, we'll find A, we have esophagus. Esophagus is the pipe that allows food to pass. In our case, it is not there. So we look at our X. Our X here should be large intestine. So we go to choose where we have large intestine, which is B. And then Y, digestion of food, and the food that is digested in the stomach, it is protein. So we have large intestine absorption, of water and the mineral salts, and then we have the organ that the part that digests protein, it is the stomach. In our case, this is our X, this is our Y. So our answer will be B. The following are characteristics of certain type of truth. Roman 1, sharp. Roman 2, chisel shaped. Roman 3, as one root. Question: the type of tooth described is a. For us to answer the question, we need to know the 4 types of teeth and their description. So we can use that using a diagram or using diagrams, so that now we are able to answer that question. So we start with the first 4 types. So we have incisors. When you look at the incisors, they look like a chisel. We say now they are chisel shaped, and when you look at the root here, they have 1 root. Then we have the canines. are sharp and pointed. You look at the roots as one root. We have the premolars. They are broad. And have ridges. The ear, it has two roots. Then we have the molars. Three roots, and here it has broad and have ridges. So when you look at our choices there, using the explanation there, we can easily get the answer. A, they are sharp, chisel shaped, and has one root. So according to our explanation, A, we have molar. Molar, they are broad and have three roots. So the idea of having three roots disqualifies it from being the answer, and also being broad. Our choice B, we have the canines. The canines, we have said that the canines are sharp and pointed. Yes, here we have sharp, but we have chisel shaped and one root. We don't have the word pointed because they are pointed. So that one disqualifies it being our answer. Choice D, we have the premolar. Premolar, we have said now they usually have two roots and they are broad. Premolars, they are broad and have two roots. So also that one cannot rhyme with what we have been given, that is being sharp, chisel shaped, and has one root. Then from there we go to our next choice, that is choice D. Choice D, we talk of incisors. Incisors, in this case, we have said now they are chisel shaped and have one root. They are chisel shaped and have one root. So due to that, our answer will be D, since incisors are chisel shaped and have one root. Which one of the following characteristics can be used to identify molars? Presence of. To answer the question, we need first to see the diagram of a molar, and a molar looks like this. Here we have the roots 1, 2, 3. So it has 3 roots. Then we have this part which is broad, as cups and ridges. It has ridges. These are the ridges. Yeah, the ridges, and the cups, these sharp parts. Then when you look at it, it's very broad. In terms of roots, we have said now it has 1 root, 2, 3. It has 3 roots. So let us look to our choices and see which explanation goes with that. We have our hair, 1 root and chisel shaped. That one cannot be our answer. Why? We have said now it is broad, as cups and ridges. It has 3 roots, so that one cannot be our answer. B, it has cups and ridges. As you can see now, it is broad, as cups and ridges. So B can be our answer, but let us look at other choices. We have C, 1 root and cups. Cups, yes, but 1 root, it does not have 1 root because we have said now it has 3 roots. When you look at our choice D, ridges and chisel shape, you look at the diagram here, it does not have a chisel shape. It is broad, cups and has ridges. So back to our choice B, you find now the answer will be our choice B because it has cups and ridges. So we take our choice B as the correct answer, and then we say molars have 3 roots, are broad and have cups and ridges. The function of the fiber in human diet is to, for us to answer the question, we need to know what are the functions of the fiber in the diet. So we start by defining what are these fibers, and here we say now the fiber are thread-like materials found in food. So when you look at this fiber, one, you need to understand that they have no nutritional value. Have no nutritional value. 2, are used or prevent constipation. And 3, helps in the movement of the materials. So using that information, now we are able to answer the question, the function of the fiber in human diet. Here, if we go by choices, A, we have choice A, provide the body with all nutrients. We have said now it have no nutritional value, so A cannot be the answer. B, transport digested food. We have not said that it transport digested food, but we have said that it helps in the movement of the materials in the alimentary canal, and the materials that are involved there, they are an indigested food material. C, prevents constipation. Here we have said now fibers, they prevent constipation by aiding or by helping in the movement of the materials in the alimentary canal out of the body. We say now the alimentary canal involves all the parts of the digestive system. And D, helps in the digestion of food. Digestion of food does not, it takes place in various parts that include the mouth, the stomach, and the small intestine. So fibers do not help in digestion of food, but helps to prevent constipation. So due to that, you'll find now our answer in that case, it will be C. It helps, that is C, it helps in preventing constipation. Which one of the following is a function of fiber in the diet? For us to answer the question, we need to understand what are the fibers. And fiber are thread-like materials found in food, e.g. in vegetables, also maize, etc. These fibers have no nutritional value. Also, it's good to note that they prevent constipation. Thirdly, helps in movement of the material in the alimentary canal. So with that information, it is easy now for us to answer the question, the function of the fiber in the diet. A, helps in getting rid of undigested food material. B, helps in absorption of the digested food. According to our explanation, we have not found anywhere whereby it helps in absorption of the digested material. C, adds nutrients in the body. We have clearly said that fibers have no nutritional value, so they cannot add any nutrients in the body. D, helps in digestion of food. They does not help in the digestion of food because we have said now their main work is to prevent constipation by helping in the movement of the materials out of alimentary canal or in the alimentary canal, and in this case it is the undigested food material. So with that, we'll find now, according to the choices that are given, the answer will be A. Will be our answer, because they help in getting rid of undigested food material due to it prevents constipation through aiding or helping movement of materials in the alimentary canal. In human body, water is absorbed in A. large intestine, B. small intestine, C. stomach, D. rectum. For us to answer the question, we need some of the basic information about the digestive system and its part, so that now we are able to answer. So digestive system is made up of various parts that include the mouth, we have the stomach, we have small intestine, we have large intestine, and then we have rectum, we have anus, and then we have others like the pancreas, liver, which are also very essential when it comes to the digestion of food. So each of these parts we have named there, they have their own functions in the alimentary canal. For example, in the mouth, food, it is chewed by the teeth. Also, it produces, our mouth produces saliva, which is mouth produces saliva that contains the enzyme that digest carbohydrates. Then the stomach produces the gastric juice that helps in digestion of proteins. The small intestine this one, it's where now by the digestion is completed. Digestion of all food is completed in the upper part of the small intestine, and it's also in the lower part of the small intestine whereby we have the absorption of food to the bloodstream, and this case is the digested food materials. They are absorbed in the lower part of the small intestine, which has finger-like structures called villi that helps or that increases surface area for absorption of the digested food. Then we have other parts like the large intestine, large intestine helps in absorption of water and the mineral salts. To the bloodstream. Then lastly we have other parts like the rectum, and the rectum, it's whereby the undigested food materials that are stored for a while before they are released out through the anus. So with that information now, we are able to choose the right answer. We start with rectum. We have said now rectum helps in storing undigested food material. The stomach, here we have said now it produces gastric juice that helps in digestion of protein. Then we have the small intestine. We have said now the small intestine, it is where digestion of food is completed. It's good to note that the digestion of food starts in the mouth and ends in the small intestine. Then a large intestine. What's the work of the large intestine? Large intestine helps, it's whereby water and mineral salts are absorbed to the bloodstream. So in our question, it was asking about the part of human body where water is absorbed, and in our case, through our short notes here, we find now it is the large intestine which helps in absorption of water and dissolved mineral salts. So in that case, our answer will be A. That now becomes our answer. Which one of the following correctly represent the path taken by food from the esophagus? For us to answer that question, we need to have a short diagram of the alimentary canal, because the alimentary canal is made up of several parts. We have the mouth, we have the esophagus there, which is a long tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. From the stomach, we have the small intestine. Then from there we have the large intestine. We have the rectum, then we have the anus. So we can easily name them. Here we have the mouth, we have the esophagus, we have the stomach, we have the small intestine, we have large intestine, we have this part is called the rectum, and then we have the anus, which is the last one here. So our question requires us to trace the path taken by food from esophagus. This is the esophagus, which is the long tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. So the food starts in the mouth, then to the esophagus. That is our point of reference. Then from esophagus we go to the stomach. From the stomach it enters the small intestine. From the small intestine it will now goes to the large intestine or colon, all the way, and digested food materials are stored in the rectum for a while, and then they are released out through the anus. So using that information now, we can trace that path using our choices. So we look at the choice that starts with esophagus and no any choice. So from esophagus we go where? To the stomach. So we go to the choices that starts with the stomach. So we have choice A, choice C. Both they start with the stomach. So from the stomach, we have said now we go to the small intestine. From small intestine we go to the large intestine. From the large intestine we go to the rectum, and then anus, which is the part that we have highlighted here: esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, the rectum, and then the anus. So our correct answer in that case, it will be A. In human body, digested food is absorbed in the. For us to know or understand where the digested food is absorbed, then we need to know the function of several parts or various parts of the alimentary canal, whereby we have the mouth, and here there is digestion of carbohydrates. We have the stomach, digestion of proteins. We have small intestine, and it is good to note that the small intestine is divided into the upper part of the small intestine, where the digestion of food is completed. Complete digestion of food. Then we have the lower part of the small intestine, whereby absorption of digested food takes place. From there we have large intestine, and this one, absorption of water and mineral salts. Takes place. So using that information now, we are able to answer our question. We start with the choice A, whereby we have stomach. Stomach, here we have said now what takes place in the stomach is the digestion of proteins, which is not what we need. We need the part where absorption of digested food takes place. Then we have large intestine. Large intestine, here we have said now it is whereby water and mineral salts are absorbed in the body. Then we have rectum. Rectum is a part that is after the large intestine, and that's whereby the undigested food materials are stored for a while before they are removed. Then we have the small intestine, whereby we have said now the small intestine, it is whereby the digestion of food is completed, and also on the lower part of the small intestine, it is whereby the absorption of the digested food takes place to the bloodstream. So due to that explanation, then our answer here, it will be the small intestine. It will be the small intestine. The importance of the fiber in human diet is to help in the. We need to know what are the function of the fiber in the diet. For us to understand what are the functions of the fiber in the diet, we need to have the following information: that the fibers are thread-like material that are found in the food. These thread-like material that are found in the food, like the vegetables and fruits, most of the carbohydrates, it's good to note that these fibers have no nutritional value, Secondly, they help in movement of the material in the alimentary canal, materials in alimentary canal. Due to this movement, they prevent constipation. So using that information, we can easily now get the answer: the importance of fiber in the human diet. That's our key question. So starting with our choice A, the digestion of food. Nowhere in our explanation we have said that the fiber are used for the digestion of food, so they do not help in any way in the digestion of food. B, movement of food. It is true that the fibers, since they have no nutritional value in our body, they help in the movement of the material in the alimentary canal, or what you call digestive system. And it's due to this movement of the material that they do the work, or they help in preventing constipation. So that B is our correct answer. B now becomes our correct answer. Which of the following parts of the human digestive system is correctly matched to its function? We have the organ and then the function. For us to answer the question, we need to highlight the functions on various parts. We start with the first part of the digestive system, which is the mouth. The mouth helps in the digestion of carbohydrates. Then from there we have the stomach. The stomach helps in digestion of proteins using the enzyme called pepsin, which is found in gastric juice. Which is a secretion that is produced in the stomach, which contains 3 substances that we have: hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and renin. Pepsin is the one that digests protein. All those secretions, they are found, all those enzymes, they are found in the gastric juice that is produced in the walls of stomach. Then we have other parts like the small intestine. In the small intestine, there is production of intestinal juice that completes digestion, all foods that have not been digested in the mouth, stomach, in the duodenum, all of them, they are completed in the small intestine. Also, it is in the small intestine that does the work of absorption. Of digested food. All food that has been digested, it's absorbed to the bloodstream in the lower part of the small intestine. Then we have another part called the large intestine. This part, water and dissolved mineral salts are absorbed to the bloodstream. Then from there we have rectum. This one stores for a while undigested food material before they are removed through the anus. So with that explanation, we can easily pick the correct alternative. But before you pick, it's good to read our question and highlight the key word. And the key word there is part of the human digestive system is correctly matched. So we need the one that is correctly matched. So we have A, we have the mouth, digest protein. From our explanation, we have seen that the proteins are digested in the stomach with the help of gastric juice that is produced in the walls of stomach. We have said now, in the stomach, there is production of the gastric juice that contains hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and renin. Pepsin is the one that is used to digest protein. We have stomach secretes digestive juice, that is the gastric juice. That is one is very much correct. We go to choice C, small intestine absorbs water. From our explanation, we have seen now water is absorbed in the large intestine. Large intestine absorbs water and dissolved mineral salts, while the small intestine, it completes the digestion of food and also absorption of the digested food. So that one makes that one also not correctly matched. D, we have large intestine stores undigested food. The part that stored undigested food is the rectum. Rectum here we are saying is store undigested food material for a while before they are removed through the anus. So in that case, our answer there, it will be B. Why? Because in the stomach there's production of gastric juice, which is a digestive juice that digests proteins. Which one of the following is the function of the fiber in human diet? To answer the question, we need to know the functions of the fiber. Fiber are thread-like material that helps in the movement of the materials in the body. Fibers are thread-like materials found in food that we eat. So these fibers, they are found in foods like vegetables, fruits, some of the cereals like maize. They have the fibers. So these fibers have no nutritional value, so they had nothing in our body. Secondly, they prevent constipation. And finally, they help in the movement of the materials in the alimentary canal. So using that information now, we can be able to answer our question, which is the function of fiber in human diet. So as we have said, the fiber helps in preventing constipation and also in the movement of the materials. So from our choices, we start with the first one, whereby we have choice A, helps in the digestion of food. Nowhere here whereby we have said now fibers help in digestion of food. B, helps in absorption of digested food. Again, nowhere we have said that it helps in absorption of digested food. Absorption of the digested food takes place in small intestine. C, prevents diarrhea. It does not prevent diarrhea but prevents constipation. D, removal of undigested material. We have said now it helps in the movement of materials in the alimentary canal. For the materials to move from the mouth through that alimentary or that gut, alimentary canal, then the fibers help in the movement. So in that case, our answer will be D. During digestion, the following activities occur in the mouth. We need to know what takes place in the mouth during the digestion of food. So once food is introduced in the mouth, several things happens there. One, in the mouth we have the teeth. What's the work of the teeth? It is to chew food, breaking it into small particles that can be swallowed. Also, we have the saliva that is produced from the salivary glands. This one contains enzymes that digest carbohydrates. Also, it helps to bind food particles together. Helps to bind food particles together. Also, we have the tank. The tank helps to roll the food to ball-like structures. Called Molars. and then throws it at the back of the mouth so that now it can be swallowed. So basically those are the things that takes place in the mouth. Once you introduce the food in the mouth, there are teeth in the mouth that their work is to chew and break that food into small particles that can be swallowed. 2, we have the saliva that is produced from the salivary glands, and this saliva contains an enzyme that digests carbohydrates, things like maize, rice. They are digested in the mouth. That's the reason you have to chew food properly. After digesting protein, also the saliva binds those food particles together so that now they can be swallowed. Also inside the mouth we have the tongue. The tongue helps to roll the food to ball-like structures called the bolars, and this, after it rolls them to bolars, then it throws the bolars at the back of the tongue, then they are swallowed. So when you go to our answers there, and before our answers we have to reread our question to highlight the key part, which is activities that occur in the mouth except, meaning that 3 of the activities occur but there is one that does not occur. So we are looking for that activity that does not occur in the mouth. A, they are talking about mechanical breaking of food. The mechanical breaking of food is chewing the food and breaking it into small particles that can be swallowed. So that is one of the activity that takes place in the mouth. B, we have secretion of digestive juice. The saliva that we have said now it is produced in the salivary glands is a digestive enzyme that helps in the digestion of carbohydrates. Killing of germs, nowhere we have said now it helps in killing germs in our explanation. Rolling of food into bolars, that is the tongue. After the food has been chewed by the teeth, then is the work of the tongue to roll the food into ball-like structure called the bolars. So the one that does not take place in the mouth, it is killing of germs. Killing of germs comes in the stomach, where there is production of gastric juice that contain hydrochloric acid, which now kills some of the germs that enters with the food. The following are some parts of the human digestive system. Roman 1, esophagus. Roman 2, stomach. Roman 3, small intestine. Roman 4, large intestine. Then our question is, in which 2 parts does the digestion of food take place? So we need to know the parts of the digestive system where digestion of food takes place. Since when you look at the digestive system, it's made up of several parts, and this part each has its own function. But there is only 3 parts where the digestion of food takes place, and these parts include mouth. In the mouth, there is production of the saliva from the salivary glands, and this saliva contains the enzyme that usually digests or produces digestive juice that digests carbohydrates or starch. Then from there we have the other part is the stomach. The stomach also produces another digestive juice, that is the gastric juice, that contains 3 substances, that is hydrochloric acid, pepsin and renin. Pepsin, it is responsible for the digestion of proteins. So proteins are digested in the stomach. Then we have the upper part of the small intestine, or we can call it the small intestine. The small intestine, it is divided into two parts. We have the upper and also the lower part. In the upper part of the small intestine, this is whereby the digestion of food is completed. Digestion of food is completed. Since we say now the digestion of food starts in the mouth and ends in the small intestine. In the lower part of the small intestine, then this is where absorption of digested food takes place to the bloodstream. Why? Because there are villi, which are finger-like structures that increase the surface area for absorption of that digested food. Back to our question, whereby we had been given parts like esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine, and the question, two parts where digestion of food takes place. So we start with Roman 1, which is esophagus. Nowhere where we have said now there is digestion of food in the esophagus. Esophagus, also it is called the food pipe, and is the pipe that connects the mouth to the stomach. Its work is just to allow food to pass. So wherever there is Roman 1, we remove. So choice A, we are removing it because of Roman 1, and also choice D, we are removing choice D because of Roman 1. Then we have our B, whereby we have Roman 2, and our Roman 2 is stomach, and 3, which is small intestine. We have said now the digestion of proteins takes place in the stomach, and in the upper part of the small intestine, that is whereby the digestion of all food is completed. So that one is the correct answer. Why? Because the digestion of protein takes place in the stomach, which is our Roman 2, and all food are completed, their digestion is completed in small intestine, which is our Roman 3. Then when we go to our choice C, we have small intestine and we have 4 large intestine. We have not suggested anywhere the large, there's something that takes place in our large intestine. So large intestine, basically that's where water and mineral salts are absorbed. So if I now, the correct answer is B. The main function of the air and the mucus found in the breathing system is 2. In the breathing system, we have different parts such as the nose, we have the trachea, also known as the windpipe, we have the lungs themselves, we have the alveoli. In the nose, we have the tiny air and mucus. Also, that one is also found in the trachea. So the tiny air and the mucus that are found in both nose and the trachea, they have various functions. So the work of the tiny air and mucus, so they help in cleaning the air. Also they help in moistening the air that we breathe in. Warming of the air is done by the blood capillaries. The blood capillaries that are found in the nose and the trachea. So using that information, now we are able to answer the question, what is the work of the air and the mucus? Helps in the exchange of gases. The exchange of gases here takes place in the alveoli. Clean air. So we have clean and moistening the air, the work of the tiny air and the mucus. So in that case, our answer will be B, because the work of the mucus and the tiny air is to clean, that is, they do cleaning and moistening the air. The warming, it is also done in the nose and trachea by the blood capillaries. The following are functions of the trachea except. The key word there is function of trachea except. So trachea is one of the parts of the breathing system, whereby we have said we have the nose. From the nose we have that tube there, which is the one we call the trachea or the windpipe. Then we have the lungs there. So this is the part we call trachea. So in the trachea there are several things that takes place there. In the trachea we have the tiny air and the mucus. These two helps in cleaning the air that we breathe in to remove the dusty particles. Also it helps in moistening the air to add moisture. Also it is supplied by blood capillaries, and this one brings the heat from the liver, and this one helps in warming the air that we breathe in. So those are the three things that takes place in the trachea: cleaning, moistening, and warming. Also the same thing it happens in the nose. In the nose also the air is cleaned, moist, and warmed. So we go back to our choices and see which one does not take, because the question requires to highlight the one that does not take place, except trapping the dust, that is cleaning the air that we breathe in. It traps the dust particles. 2, moistening the air. We have seen now there is the mucus. The mucus contains some water, and this moisture, it's the one that helps in moistening the air that we breathe in. Warming the air. I've said that warming of the air that we breathe in is done by the blood capillaries that are found in the trachea. This is the trachea. The exchange of gases. The exchange of gases is not one of the functions of the trachea that we have listed, but Exchange of gases usually take place here in the lungs. Here we have this part we call alveoli, and this is whereby the exchange of gases takes place. So in that case, our answer will be D, because exchange of gases takes place in the alveoli, but trapping of dust, moisturing of the air, warming of the air, all that one happens in the trachea. Which one of the following parts of the breathing system warms the incoming air? The incoming air is the air that we breathe in. So as we breathe in, the air first passes through the nose. Then from the nose it enters the trachea. From the trachea it enters the bronchus. From the bronchus then it enters the lungs. These are the lungs. So this is the trachea. These are the lungs. These are the nose. So in the nose we have the tiny air, and also we have the mucus. Also blood capillaries, are found there. So the tiny air traps the dust particles that are present in the air. The mucus, they does the work of moistening the air, and then we have the blood capillaries that does the work of warming the air that we breathe in. So according to our question, it is asking which part in the breathing system warms the incoming air. The incoming air, it is usually warmed in the nose. It is warmed in the nose. That is where we have the blood capillaries that warm the air that we breathe from the heat that it gets from the lungs. In the trachea also the same happens, but it rarely, because first it has to be passed through the nose. The diaphragm helps just increasing and decreasing the thoracic volume when we are breathing in and out, and it is in the lungs where the exchange of gases takes place. So the warming of the air as we breathe in, it is done in the nose. The following are some of the physical changes that takes place during the adolescence. Hips becomes broader, chest and shoulders becomes broader, pimples may appear on the face, voice breaks, pubic hair grows. Which of changes takes place in girls? So we have physical changes that occur to the adolescents during the adolescent stages. Some are physical, the others are emotional changes. For the physical changes, there are those changes that occurs to both boys and girls. Others occur to boys alone. Others occurs to girls only. Here we want the physical changes that occurs to girls. So we talk of physical changes in girls. So they include 1. Broadening of the hips, 2. Breast enlarges, 3. Menstruation starts, 'Others may apply to both boys and girls, but they occur to girls like increase in weight and height. And also growth of pubic hair. All those are some of the physical changes that takes place into girls. So with that information, then we look at the changes that we have been given. Roman 1 we have is becomes broader, which is a common characteristics or common physical change in girls. So we have Roman 1. Then chest and shoulders become broader, that is for boys, so we don't take that. Pimples may appear on the face, also that one takes place in girls, although also occurs in boys. Voice breaks, that occurs to boys only. Pubic hair grows, that occurs to both girls and boys. So in that case, the changes that occurs to girls include it becomes broader, which is Roman 1. Roman 3, pupils appear on the face and pubic hair grows. So according to our answers, the answer is D, where we have Roman 1, 3 and 5. Which one of the following changes takes place during adolescence to boys only? We have physical changes that occurs to the adolescent during the period of their adolescence. So some of these physical changes occurs to boys only, others occurs to girls only, and others occur to both boys and girls. So here we look at the physical changes that occurs to boys, and some of the physical changes that occurs to boys include voice breaks. It breaks because the Adam apple increases in size. 2, they start experiencing wet dreams during the night. 3, their chest and shoulder broadens. So those are the 3 physical changes that occurs to boys alone. So when you look at our answers there, we have A, we have first growth of the pubic hair, chest and shoulders become broader, and then we have releasing sex cell. It is good to note that releasing sex cell is a common physical changes in both boys and girls, because here boys will produce sperms and the girls will produce ovum. So according to the short notes here, we can see now we have chest and shoulder becomes broader, which is chest and shoulder broadens. That now become physical changes in boys alone. So our answer, it will be C. Which one of the following physical changes observed in boys and girls during adolescence is not correctly matched? So we have physical changes that occurs to boys alone during adolescence. We have also physical changes that occurs to girls during adolescence, and then we have others that occur to both boys and girls. So here we start with the physical changes that occurs to boys alone, and some of the physical changes that occur to boys alone include 1, the voice breaks. It breaks because of the enlargement of the Adam's apple. 2, they start experiencing wet dreams. The other one is that their shoulders and chest broadens. Then we have the physical changes that occurs to girls alone or only. One is menstruation starts as they produce mature ovum. Their hips broadens. And then we have the enlargement of the breast. So those are physical changes that occurs to boys alone and girls alone. So from there we go to our choices and see which one rhymes with our explanation. So we start with the boys. So we remove those choices that does not have physical changes that takes place in boys alone. For example, we have our choice D, where we have pubic hair grows on the face. So this one, pubic hair grows. This one is a common physical change in both boys and girls. Pubes on the face. Also, this one is a common physical change in both boys and girls. So here we have B and A, whereby voice breaks and also wet dreams. So those are possible answers. But then when you go to the side of the girls, we have pubic hair. Pubic hair, as we said, is a common physical change that occurs to both boys and girls. Then B, we have the hips broaden. Hips broadening is a physical change that occurs to the girls during the adolescence stage. So in that case, our answer will be B. Which one of the following changes occurs to both adolescent boys and girls? During the stage of adolescence, which is a period between childhood and adulthood, there are some of the physical changes that occurs to both boys and girls. Others occurs to boys alone, others occurs to girls only. So in our case, we want the physical changes that occurs to both boys and girls. So we talk of physical changes that occurs to both boys and girls. Physical changes in both boys and girls. So some of these physical changes include: 1. Increase in height and weight. 2. Pimples appears on the face. 3. Production of the sex cells. 4. So the sex cells here involves the ovum and also the sperms in the case of boys. So from that we go to our choices to look which one has both physical changes for both boys and girls. So we talk of production of the sex cells, hips broaden, voice breaks, and enlargement of the breast. So when you look at all these physical changes, some of them applies to boys only, like voice breaks. That one is a physical change to boys only. But then when you look at hips broadening and enlargement of the breast, that one occurs to girls only. But when it comes to A, production of the sex cell, that one is a common physical change that occurs to both boys and girls. Boys will produce mature sperms and girls will produce a mature ovum. So in that case, our answer will be A. Production of the sex cells.